So if you are trying to have an LLC business line of credit with low documentation and a big amount of debt, you want to follow the following steps. Step number one, you need to prepare your company to apply for a line of credit. See, the whole thing is that in our experience for the last 25 to 30 years, most LLC founders, they have no idea not only how a business line of credit works and what the requirements are for them to actually get the LLC business line of credit that they want, especially with low doc. You need more preparation. So the first thing you want to do here is you want to pay your bills on time. Because what will happen here is that, see, a business line of credit is a revolving line of credit. It's a revolving product. Okay, it's not like an installment loan. So the lender will pay attention to your payment habit. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have regular payments in terms of credit card, a regular payment history in terms of credit cards, in terms of your loans. Okay, that's number one. The second thing you want to do here is you need to actually ascertain your status as an LLC. See, the whole thing is it's not just being an LLC on paper. But my question to you is, do you have your articles of organization? Do you have your operating bylaws? Do you have a good standing certificate from the state? Those are things the lender is going to look at just to make sure that you are legit. So when we talk about being legit, we're talking about not only being legit in terms of how the state authorities are seeing your LLC, but also whether or not you are paying your taxes on time. Okay, you got to pay your taxes. Remember, when we speak about LLC will file Form 1065 and will issue Schedules K1 to all the partners, not the partners, to all the members of the LLC, and make sure that you are paying taxes at the personal level also, because data on the Schedule 1 will be transferred to your 1040 Schedule C. Okay. Another thing I want to say here is that when we talk about getting ready for a line of credit, you make sure that the accounting period that you choose matches the line of credit time window. Let me explain that. Let's say you want to have a business line of credit. You want that line of credit to be open for 5 years, and so the 5 years. If you want the repayment period to start, let's say in January, make sure that January matches the accounting period that you have. Most LLCs have an accounting period that's standard. In other words, the year starts in January and ends in December. So those are really important, and it will take too long for me to explain the importance of accounting period here. But if you are interested, just let me know in the comment section, and our team members will certainly get back to you. By the way, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. And we're having a quick convo about LLC, business lines of credit. How do you actually get it? And I want to expand a little bit on how to prepare your company to apply for a line of credit. The thing is that you have to organize your paperwork. Okay. When we talk about organizing paperwork, we're speaking about you have to submit your corporate financial statements. So your LLC, you must actually make sure that your LLC is actually not only legit, but has, I would say, updated financial statements. So we are speaking about balance sheets. We are speaking about profit and loss statements. We are speaking about bank statements. We are speaking about business tax returns. We are speaking about personal tax returns. Those are important because when we talk about financial statements for LLCs in general, some LLCs founders think that we're only speaking about the 4 primary types of financial statements: balance sheet, profit and loss statements, cash flow statements, and owner's equity statements. But the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the FDIC, has come out recently advising that when it comes to when banks have to lend to businesses, in particular LLCs, banks have to ask for more documentation. Okay, and this came from the FDIC of all institutions. Okay, so this is really, it must be really important for them to come out and talk about that. So money, boss, money. Are you currently making money in your LLC? Are you generating revenue? Did you generate last year a loss or a profit? What is your cash flow situation like? This will have a major import on your ability to be approved for the business line of credit. So here is the approach I want you to follow right now. I want you to prepare your financial statements. You can do it yourself, or you can use accounting software to kind of help you out. Totally fine, not a problem. Or you can even reach out to somebody else, okay? And make sure that you have this in the paperwork. Also want to have the last 3 bank statements. This will help also. Now, the second thing I want you to really pay attention to, hey, boss, I just want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We're talking about 3 things that you need to do. 3 things you need to do if you want to get an LLC business line of credit with low documentation. Number 1, prepare your company to apply for a line of credit. Number 2, know the requirements for an LLC business line of credit. Okay, so most LLCs business lines of credit, if you want to apply for a low doc LLC business line of credit, your credit score must be high. And some lenders are really flexible. They will accept you if you have a 580 or 600. That's the minimum. They want you to be in business for 12 months at least, okay? Because the lender wants to make sure that you have operational stability. You have a little bit of operational history. And in terms of revenue requirements, sometimes the lenders will ask you to have minimum $10,000. Okay, this is something you need to think about. And you might have to provide collateral. And what we want to do here is that usually we don't want to talk about, we don't want to advise our viewers to have a collateralized business lines of credit. But hey, listen, if you have a good deal for your LLC business line of credit and they're asking you to post collateral, go ahead and do it. Okay, you may have no choice anyway. But the only thing is that lenders don't want you to have like major derogatory credit events like bankruptcies, foreclosures, or tax liens. So this is really important. As a matter of fact, there was an article, there was actually a survey not long ago in CNN Money. And CNN Money was talking about the fact that a lot of LLCs and S corporations were actually resorting to business lines of credit to sort of plug their liquidity gaps. In other words, instead of going for, let's say, an installment loan or going for equipment financing, going for other types of business financing, a lot of LLCs are now choosing to go with business lines of credit. So we really thought that this was really interesting, that now LLCs want to go that route. But hey, listen, it is what it is. So make sure that you know the requirements very clearly. And the third thing I want you to really do here is that you need to understand your credit needs. If you are an LLC and you are looking for a business line of credit with low documentation, you need to have a clear idea about your business credit needs. Now, when I say business credit needs, I'm speaking about 3 important things. Number 1, you need to know how much money you need. How much your money does your LLC need? Number 2, how can you get that cash? In other words, let's say you need $5,000 or you need $10,000. Okay, is an LLC business line of credit the best credit product for you, or can you get that cash through a credit card, for example, or can you get the cash through a business loan, for example? Okay, and the third thing you need to really pay attention to is that are you if you get the cash, right? Would you be able to generate revenue that is more than whatever the LLC business line of credit will actually cost you? In other words, we're speaking about the use of line proceeds. The use of line proceeds. So you're gonna get the cash. What are you using the cash for? Okay, so those are things I want you to really pay attention to as we go granular on understanding your business credit needs. Okay, and as a matter of fact, McKinsey Quarterly, which is one of a great magazines that we love a lot. They really do a lot of research. McKinsey Quarterly was actually talking not long ago about, there was an article, there was actually a series of articles that talked to the fact that small businesses actually were resorting to to business lines of credit to actually find the cash they needed to pay for things like inventory, to hire more staff, for example, to actually to sign bigger contracts with wholesalers. Okay, so the need is there and the funding is there. So when we talk about understanding your credit needs, think about what type of loan is best for you. Think about the timing, okay, and you want to start about shopping rates, because U.S. Bank or Chase may come and say, listen, our LLC business line of credit, we're giving you 15%, but you could actually find better. Maybe it's just better to go to an alternative lender and see if they can get you a better rate. Here are a few pro tips that I want to share with you. And but by the way, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We're having a conversation about LLC business lines of credit, low documentation. How do you get a fat amount really fast? So there are three things that you need to know. And so number one, prepare your company to apply for a line of credit. Number two, I share with you, you need to know the requirements for a business line of credit. And number three, you need to understand your credit needs. And now, what I want to say here is that when we talk about a business line of credit for your LLC, you need to understand that you have to constantly ask yourself, should I actually go for this business line of credit, or should I go for a regular loan? What are my business analytics telling me? Business analytics means what? It means your financial statements. It means your operational dashboards. It means what your vendors are telling you. It means what your customers are telling you. It means your liquidity cash, your liquidity inflows and outflows. It means that you have to see how long it takes your operational processes to go from A to Z. Those are important elements that you need to understand clearly before you decide to go with a business line of credit or not. Okay. What I want to say here is that when we talk about a business line of credit, when you really think about it for your LLC, is very flexible in comparison to other loan types. And in most cases, you will not be asked to specify a particular use for your loan. Okay. And so that flexibility is really quintessential because it allows your LLC to use a business line of credit almost as a safety net or insurance policy against gaps in cash flow or seasonal lulls in business. And we know that every business goes through some seasonal yo-yo. Every business, okay? And what we have seen in our research is that some LLCs use the line of credit to help increase capacity in times of unexpected spikes in demand. It's all about having access to the extra cash, so you use it the day you need it, okay? So a business line of credit for your LLC is really ready cash, and it is flexible, and there is no cost to maintain it. Therefore, it is a solid business practice to open and maintain an LLC business line of credit. One thing I also want to say here is that, again, make sure that the LLC, because there's something called opportunity cost. So even though there is no cost to actually maintain it, there's a cost in terms of, what if I use this money for this initiative versus another, right? And everything goes back to your business analytics. Your analytics, your LLC business analytics will provide the answer you need to have. If you have made it so far, I really want to bless you with a bonus. And so the thing is that I want to quickly go through I want to do a quick comparative analysis between an LLC business line of credit with low documentation versus, let's say, equipment financing, merchant cash advance, unsecured business loans, and SBA loans. So the thing is, when we talk about LLC business line of credit, low documentation, this type of business funding is really better in terms of when it comes to interest rates. You have lower interest rates. It is flexible. Okay, it is it is a revolving line. It is a revolving product. You can use it for everything else. Something you can't do with equipment financing, for example, or merchant cash advance, for example. Okay, because those those credit products have limitations. And so you also have to think about, you have a source of ready cash that is there for you. So I was just going through the pros of an LLC business line of credit. So this is really, really good. Okay. And in terms of the cons, the disadvantages, well, sometimes some LLC business lines of credit might ask you for collateral, especially if you have bad credit. The problem here is that if you are looking for a low doc line of credit for your LLC, you better have a good credit score. If you don't have a good credit score, then you need to have some kind of collateral or a strong business plan. Okay, and there are some LLC business lines of credit that want you to update documents on each draw. So this is something you need to think about. Every time you draw funds, they want you to update your cash flow statements, and other stuff. And if you have low credit score, make sure that you expect to have a high APR. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it, right? And but overall, an LLC business line of credit is really great. Really great. It helps you get the cash you need, and you can use the cash for stuff that you plan or don't plan. Okay, but the cash is sitting there, and there's no cost to maintain it. So this is really good. And before I close to this conversation, I want to talk about something that not a lot of videos on YouTube and whatnot mention. See, when we talk about an LLC business line of credit with the low documentation, I spoke to you about the fact that you can use the money to expand your business, to buy inventory, to pay for new staff, right? But you can also use the cash, at least the repayment history, to build business credit. Because using a business line of credit can greatly improve your credit profile. We're speaking about your business credit profile, your Dun and Bradstreet payday score, your Experian business score, your Equifax business score, right? Because the whole thing here is that you are basically borrowing and repaying. And business lenders love that. They love this sort of flexibility. Okay. And it's really important to understand that if you're able to maintain a positive pattern of repayment or credit repayment over time, you are basically improving your business credit profile. So your payday score, instead of being around 80, will go to like 85 or 90, which is really great for your LLC, which is what you want anyway in the first place, right? And so this is really cool. And one thing that I also need to say here is that make sure that you get the business line of credit with low doc. Make sure that you speak to the lender before getting that credit product. Ask them if they report to the business credit bureaus. Ask them if because a lot of them, they only report your data if you are starting to mess up. In other words, you're not making payments on time. That's when they have an incentive to report your data to the business credit bureaus. But when things are good, when times are good, they don't have an incentive to actually report your data. So it's really important for you to incentivize the business lender to report your data to business credit bureaus. Okay, and once you so you have to talk to the business lender, but also go back and talk to the business credit bureaus themselves. And don't forget all along that you need to set up a DUNS number. You need to have a DUNS number before a DUNS. It's called DUNS number. And so you need to have a DUNS number before you can actually have your payday score reported. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was just talking to you about LLC business lines of credit with low documentation and a fat amount, and 3 things you need to do to make sure that you are always approved. First, prepare your company to apply for a line of credit. Number 2, know the requirements for a business line of credit. And number 3, understand your credit needs. Thank you so much for your attention. God bless you. I'll see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.